Hello Wolfpack, Bitcoin update like usual, and we're going to be looking into what's going on with Bitcoin right now and what's going on specifically with this descending wedge formation that a lot of people are pointing at and wondering whether that's kind of the bullish pattern we need to be seeing in order to see a breakout up to new all-time highs. Let's not get into it too extensively. Because most of the people who watch my Bitcoin videos are subscribers of the channel already. But essentially, 53k is the region we need to break in order to be bullish on the market. Again, there's multiple reasons for that. You can go find that in my previous videos, but that's what it is. 53k is what we need to break to be bullish on the market again. And what we kind of went over yesterday is the fact that this descending wedge formation, although very bullish, although, could possibly break up to the upside and technically is more likely to break out to the upside, but we're going to be looking into that in a second. That's just based off, a descending wedge formation alone with no other factors taken into account. This wedge formation, if you do a measurement from the top of the wedge, first test of the wedge, to the bottom of the wedge, first test of the bottom side of the wedge, which is what you typically do as extrapolation, you're looking at around 53k as the target for the wedge. That's bearish, right? And this is what we said yesterday. It's bearish because we want to be breaking above 53k. And the most bullish thing on the Bitcoin chart right now, which is this descending wedge formation, is targeting 53k, which means we'll probably go to 53k and probably reject from 53k, and hence we won't be bullish in the market at that point. And also that kind of perfectly lines up with the speculation we've been having for a head and shoulders pattern or a potential head and shoulders pattern on Bitcoin, right? And that would obviously send us down to the 30k region. Now, the downside breakout potential for this wedge is very interesting as well, right? Because it targets exactly 30k, or exactly that 30k support box, which goes down to actually 28k. And you can see that this wedge is very clearly in a critical spot, and it's very clearly going to be breaking out within the next few days, in my personal opinion, because the targets from the extrapolation, it's either a coincidence or it just is what it is. I think it is what it is, right? Are perfectly lining up with resistance and support on the chart. And so if we break to the downside, the next target's going to be that 30k region. If we break to the upside, the target's going to be 53k. That's just what the wedge is telling us, and that's just the objective facts of the situation. And so we're looking at this wedge quite definitively and looking at it to kind of understand what's going to be going on here, because this is by far the most important kind of wedge or kind of pattern going on in the Bitcoin chart right now, and probably will be the most important one until it breaks out to the upside of a downside. Now, I will say that we're having trouble breaking through. We're having quite intense trouble breaking through to the upside in this wedge, and that trouble is coming from the fact that we've seen a bullish MACD cross already. It didn't do much to the price. In fact, we're still rejecting even after that bullish MACD cross. We saw a double bottom in the RSI. Hasn't really done much yet, and we've formed the wedge formation, which has like a 70 to 80% chance of a breakout to the upside on every formation that's formed, maybe even higher. I don't remember the exact number, and that's not really proving to be that good right now, because we've rejected from the top on multiple occasions. And so it kind of does beg the question, are we going to be breaking to the upside? Is there the sustained buying pressure in the market to break to the upside right now? And what we're seeing right now by the volume, and obviously this is a representation of what's happening currently. If something happens, some news event happens, something happens that pushes Bitcoin up, that's going to be something we can't plan for. But right now on the volume, we're not seeing very promising signs, and that's just the facts. We're seeing descending volume on the rise up from the 38k region or 39k region all the way to the 44k region, right? So the volume has been descending that entire time. The volume has been descending while we're testing the top of this wedge, which means it's very unlikely that we'll actually see a breakout unless we see a significant spike in volume by something. We need something to happen here, some sort of catalyst to break out, because it doesn't look like it's going to happen naturally. But, I could be wrong. I think that when it comes down to things like this, it's all about probabilities. And the probability of breaking a wedge to the upside with no other factors included, probably 70 to 80%, right? The probability of breaking a descending wedge to the downside when you see to the upside when you see descending volume on the way up, you're probably looking to towards something like 30 to 40% just off speculation. And so for that reason, it seems less likely that we'll see a break to the upside then we would see a break to the downside, or not even a break to the downside, but another retest of the downside at this point in time. Now, there is something to consider as well, and that consideration is that if we do reject here, the test of a downside would take us below our critical support box at 40k. And for that reason, you could make a case that we would need to be breaking out here. I would kind of agree with that case as well. And I suppose the kind of overarching thing you're going to get from this video is that it's not as bullish as people would like you to think it is. There is descending volume on the test of the wedge, which kind of suggests that no one's willing to buy right now. Possibly everyone's waiting for a breakout. And if we do see a breakout, well, first of all, we've got this red resistance line that I've drawn here. That's going to be guarding the gateway, right? So we could very well see a fake out. We've got the 9 EMA, which is a short-term critical resistance that's guarding the gateway as well. And we've got things like the 50-day and the 200-day just above here at 48k and trending downwards that are guarding us. We've got Ikemoku Cloud here, which will be at probably 45k by the time we get there. That's guarding us as well. We've got bull market support guarding. We've got Gaussian channel guarding us. We've got multiple things. We've got the volume profile guarding us at 47. And so look. And then we've got 45.5k, which is a major resistance block, which was previously support throughout this entire potential double bottom formation we saw here that actually didn't play out very well, right? This whole region here, this 45.5, that's just above us that's guarding as well. So, could we break out to the upside? For sure. I wouldn't be surprised in the slightest if we broke out to the upside here. But if we do, I don't know if I'd be buying the break, because even though it would make perfect sense for us to rally upwards, even up to 53k as expected here with the wedge formation extrapolation, there's a lot of resistance that could potentially cause it to be a fake out and could cause us to go down. So even if there is a break, it wouldn't be something that I'm super confident in. But I think it would make sense to break to the upside here. It's just the technicals on paper, it makes sense, but the technicals just aren't really supporting that scenario. They're not showing us a bullish picture. Usually when you see a wedge formation like this, you see the MACD is about to cross bullish, you're seeing bullish divergence as we trend downwards. There might be a few resistance zones above, but you've certainly got extensive support below, and there's lots of volume because people are getting ready for the break. We're seeing none of that right now. And so, yes, we are in a bullish wedge formation, and yes, we are on critical support, but everything else is not in our favor right now for a bullish action. However, at some point you have to kind of sit back and say, well, we've been trending downwards since November the 8th. It's currently January 16th. We've seen a long downwards trend. At some point we need to be having some sort of dead cat bounce, more extensive than this 1 week bounce we had here in mid-December. And so there's lots of different theories to take up, but I suppose the overall arching premise for this video that I'm kind of trying to get across is that, very, very much possible that we will see a break, right? If we do see a break, I'd like to see a daily candle close above. I'm not getting out of bed for any, in the words of Benjamin Cohen, I'm not getting out of bed for any hourly candle or any 4-hour candle. I want to see a daily candle above that wedge, because this has been going on for, over 60 days, more, 70 days. And so we need to see a daily candle, at least one daily candle above that wedge in order to confirm it's actually a breakout and not just a wick. Because we saw a wick back here, right? In late December, we saw a wick upwards. Didn't mean anything because it was a fake out. We saw a wick downwards here. It was a fake out, right? We need to see daily candle closes above that wedge to confirm it. Even at that point, it's something we need to be considering in further videos, future videos, and looking at what the volume looks like at that point in time. But right now, could it break to the upside? Yes. Would I be confident of it actually rallying up to 53k as the wedge suggests? Probably not, right? But again, we'd have to see at that point in time. So, at this point in time, I'm kind of exercising the same strategy I've been exercising for the last 2 months, and that's being cautious until proven otherwise. And as of currently, there's been no proof or evidence of any kind of sustained upwards rally for Bitcoin. 53k is going to be the proof. And that might be a while away. If we're going by my prediction, we're going to be bottoming out anywhere in the November region this year, so 2022, and that's 10 months away. And so we could be downtrending for a long period of time. That doesn't mean we can't have dead cat bounces. That doesn't mean we can't trade things. We definitely can trade things, right? If this wedge looked good and there was no all of this low volume stuff going on and heaps of resistance, I'd trade this wedge, even though I'm bearish in the market on a longer term scale. But it just doesn't. It's not showing me that right now. And so, ultimately what I think is going to happen on Bitcoin, I mean, what's kind of supported by what I was looking at yesterday, and a lot of people don't really agree with what I was looking at yesterday, and I completely understand that. It is very speculative, and it's very, I guess that's just the word speculative there. It's taking a lot of things with a grain of salt, ultimately, when you're looking at this analysis. It's the 1,400 days between the top in 2013 to 2017, 1,400 days between the top of 2017 to 2021. Obviously, some people wouldn't agree the top was in 2021. I personally do, and so the analysis is based off that. It's 1,400 days between the bottom in 2015 and the bottom in 2019, and we're speculating there's going to be, again, 1,400 days between the bottom in 2018 and the bottom later this year, which is 2022. That bottom in 2022 is supported by the fact that every time we see a top out on Bitcoin, it takes us 1 year straight to get down to the 200-week SMA, which is where the bottom is going to be, right? And so that would mean that 1 year from November 2021 is November 2022, which lines up with this 1,400-day prediction. And so it's not just using the days alone; it's actually using a second part of analysis to kind of try and predict, and that's kind of filling up the blank space there and filling up the speculation with some actual solid evidence. And so, yes, this prediction does have a lot of speculation in it, but it's definitely worth considering. And at the end of the day, the whole market's just speculation anyway. It's just a matter of what's more concrete and what's not. So you could say this is softer evidence as opposed to hard evidence that comes from straight technical analysis, but it is worth saying, and it does help support the prediction that we're going to be ending up in the bottom. If you're bearish in the market, right, this is my opinion, we're going to be bottoming out in November or somewhere around that region. We can't be precise, in 2022. And so that would kind of imply that we're going to be downtrending for a long period of time here. But as I just said, we need to be seeing bounces at some point, because if we downtrend, just straight downtrend, until the 200-week SMA, we're going to get there a lot sooner than November. We'll probably get there by March. So we need to see dead cat bounces to take up some of that time. Ultimately, I'd love to see downtrends just straight there, because it means we can get back in bull market as soon as possible, but it's just not logically kind of the situation that's going to play out. And so a dead cat bounce here would make sense, but the wedge right now is just not showing me the compelling evidence I need to be entering any trades right now. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed. I'll be back at it again tonight with another Bitcoin update, and I'm also going to start live streaming very shortly. I'm thinking within the next couple of weeks I'm going to be getting my first live stream going. I'm just going to start setting up some of the equipment and just finding out what I actually need for it, because I'm not too sure. And I think it'll be interesting, right? Maybe we can do like every weekly close. I'll do a live stream, and the only thing is, I think around that time a lot of people would be going to their traditional jobs, and so we'd have to figure out a time that is best for everyone. Obviously, I'm based in Australia, but most of my audience is from the US, and so I'd have to work around that somehow. So thanks for watching, guys. We'll figure that out soon. Keep an eye on Twitter for updates on that, and I'll catch you in the next one.